Hello and welcome back to Grade 7 French. Unité 1, les adjectifs possessifs, les adverbes, les conjonctions et les verbes réguliers et irréguliers. Now, folks, right off the top, this is the longest Smartboard lesson of the year you will get for French, easily. And the reason why I'm putting this video together and posting it online is just so that you can get a sort of a heads up for what we're going to be doing over the next 3 or 4 French classes. In each unit, we have at least one grammar or parts of speech lesson to work on, and they're much shorter, but for Unité 1, they take a lot of material that you've looked at past years and put it all together. So there are a few activities near the end of this video which are going to challenge you to just try to conjugate some verbs that you've learned in the past. But really the purpose of this video is just let you see what's coming ahead of you. I'm not expecting you to memorize everything in this video. In fact, we'll be breaking this down over the next 3 or 4 classes, and I'll have a nice booklet for you which you'll keep in your binder, and that can serve as a really neat reference point. So everything that's in this video will get covered multiple times in French in grade 7 and grade 8. But let me stop rambling and let's get moving on. So in this first grammar or parts of speech lesson of the year, we are going to review some important concepts. As we complete this video, you are going to copy the information in your Unité booklet, which you'll receive in class. And we're going to do all of the work in our booklets in class. There won't be any take-home work, but something you might want to do at the end of tomorrow's French class and Wednesday's French class is just go back and review some of this, just so that when you come into French class the next day, you're not feeling completely cold. To begin, in English, we use possessive adjectives to show ownership. Examples of possessive adjectives are my, your, his or hers, and their. In French, these are known as les adjectifs possessifs. Now, we need to remember that when writing in French, different objects are either masculine or feminine. And I know this is something completely strange to us, but it is a very important French rule. And so this determines which adjectif possessif we need to use. Now, you're going to get a chance to fill out a chart just like this in class, and we'll go through it together. But what I'd like you to do, when I'm done talking, is put the video on pause, just read over this a couple of times, and see how much you remember. And then in class the following day, we'll see how much we're able to write down without me giving the information directly to you. So just put the video on pause for a minute and check out this chart. Okay, let's continue. In English, we use conjunctions to make longer sentences. Conjunctions are connection words like and, but, or, and where. The French language uses connecting words as well. These are les conjonctions. So again, when I'm done talking, you're going to put the video on pause. And this is a much shorter chart, thankfully. But just study over this list for a minute. And then in our next class, I'm just going to see how many of these four conjunctions you remember. In English, we use adverbs to describe the actions a person is taking. Adverbs like much, little, good, and bad help us add details in our sentences. The French language includes plenty of adverbs, or adverbs. On the next slide, we are going to translate some of them. Okay, and I filled out this chart here, but in class tomorrow, you're going to be filling out a chart that looks exactly like this. You'll be filling in the English side. So like you've done with the past two charts, you're going to put the video on pause, just see how much of this you can take in, and then we'll go over all of this tomorrow. So you don't have to have memorized all of this in one night. Okay, and let's move on. In French, there are special rules for conjugating verbs. Let's review how to conjugate regular verbs. Of course, there are three types of regular verbs. There are verbs that end with an ER, an RE, or an IR. Okay, I have a feeling that you've done this in previous years. So here's a chart for ER verbs. So I'll put the video on pause for a minute so you can study over this, and hopefully you'll look at this and say, oh, I remember doing stuff like this last year. Moving forward, okay, here's a similar chart for RE. So put the video on pause for a minute, just look over this, and like the previous slide, this one should appear somewhat familiar to you. Okay, and we've got one more, and this is for an IR chart. Okay, so again, put the video on pause, check out this list, see if any of it's familiar to you, and then again, we'll be filling out a chart like this in our booklets. Okay, moving ahead. On the next few slides, this is something we're going to do in class. We're going to practice conjugating some regular verbs. Okay, les verbes réguliers, they follow the conjugation rules that we saw in the past three charts. Okay? Okay, and if you want, you can try this at home. You don't have to. If you want to try this at home, put the video on pause so you can just jot down the verb is écouter, and you can try conjugating it on a piece of paper at home. Okay, we have the same thing for jouer. So if you want, you can put the video on pause, give you time to copy a chart like this and see how much you can conjugate. Okay, now we have choisir. So yet again, if you want to practice this at home, put the video on pause, take the time to copy out the chart really quickly and see how much you can fill in. And we have finir, another IR verb. So if you want, put the video on pause, try filling out this chart, see how you do. Okay, we have attendre, an RE verb. So you know what I'm going to say. If you want to try it at home, go ahead, put the video on pause so you can try jotting down the conjugation for attendre. Okay, then we have répondre. Okay, one last RE verb. So if you want, put the video on pause and fill out a répondre chart on a separate piece of paper. Okay, one last item to go over. Some verbs do not follow the conjugation rules we have been practicing. These are known as les verbes irréguliers, irregular verbs. We have to memorize how to conjugate these verbs. So I'm going to show you 4 slides each containing an irregular verb you're probably familiar with. Again, no pressure to try filling this out at home, but if you're motivated, give it a try. Okay, the first is aller. The second is avoir. The third is être. And the last one is faire. Okay, and that's it for all the activities here. Again, you're going to have a nice big booklet to fill out with me in class over the next couple weeks worth of French classes. And we'll be doing, as you can see here, we'll be doing plenty of activities from both the livre and the cahier in class. So thank you and congratulations for making it through to the end of this video. And until we meet again, this concludes your video for Unité 1.